I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford wanna challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. So what I'm saying, I'm with it. So I'll be going for Bud.
I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Like everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish.
Do you not think Spence will be in the Hall of Fame?
Right now? No, how?
Yeah, he's right, dude. He's right.
How? He fought in one division.
Never unified the belts.
He unified.
He did unify.
IBF. He unified.
IBF, was it?
Errol Spence has finally broken his silence and called for a rematch with Terence Crawford. This comes after Crawford recently dismissed Spence as a subpar fighter. While many believe it's too late for a second fight, Spence isn't backing down. After repeatedly facing disrespect from Crawford, he's now ready to step back into the ring with the two-time undisputed champion.
I never want to fight him coming off an accident like that. Because when I beat him,
right,
then y'all gonna say it was because of the accident.
Right.
He beat Danny Garcia. I was in the crowd. I said, nah, he can't beat me. That's the first time I seen Spence fight live. I said.
So you knew then when you seen that?
I'm like, yeah, because it's different on TV than when you watching it up close in person.
Fight.
He did unify.
IBF. He unified.
IBF, was it?
He had three.
Yeah.
He had the
But
WBC,
he didn't unify about
WBA,
4. He wasn't
IBF.
undisputed.
Huh?
He wasn't undisputed.
He wasn't. No, but what I'm saying is, they already called him a weight bully, right? He beat Kell Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
Spence's first fight against Crawford was a disaster for him, leaving a lasting mark on his career. His performance that night was widely criticized, and it significantly hurt his reputation in the boxing world. Unfortunately for Spence, many now define his legacy by that defeat. In response to a recent interview where Crawford was asked if Spence deserved a spot in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, Spence took to social media to call for a rematch, determined to rewrite his story.
Along my career, I've been criticized and people have taken credit away from me just to try to diminish my accomplishments, just off of pure hate. So what would they be able to say with me going up 2 weight classes?
People say, oh, well, maybe it was the weight or whatever the case is. What do you think about that? Like, talking about the weight at 154?
I wasn't worried about that. I felt stronger than him. I felt that I punched harder than him. I felt as if I hurt him.
Crawford, however, disagreed, saying that Spence wouldn't make it into the Hall of Fame if he retired today. That comment pushed Spence to respond directly on social media, calling out Crawford. The disrespect has been building, and now Spence feels it's time for them to face off again.
I hold his head up. It's a learning experience. You just bounce back from. It's about how you come back and how you show people that that having young in your career and some of you
said, that's a good win. Like I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or
I understand
things like that, but
right.
I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame.
This must have struck a nerve with Errol Spence, who hasn't been in the ring since his 2023 loss to Crawford. His last appearance in boxing was when he was promoting a fight for one of the fighters under his promotion, who was competing for the World Boxing Association lightweight title. Spence and Crawford were expected to be a close match, but Crawford dominated the fight, handing Spence his first professional defeat. Spence now has a record of 28 wins, 1 loss, and 10 knockouts.
Fight. Yeah. But I just felt like, he came prepared and he was ready and he fought a good fight.
Yeah.
He was awkward, he was patient, he was determined, he stuck to his game plan, and he did what he had to do to.
Errol Spence recently opened up on social media, admitting that the worst thing he's done as an athlete was drinking. His post also caught the attention of Gervonta Davis, who fights Lamont Roach tonight. Spence's message was clear. Athletes should keep their focus on the end goal for the sake of their future and their loved ones. Despite his loss to Crawford, Spence has had an impressive career. However, after his recent performance, some fans are questioning whether he still has what it takes. This led Spence to respond on X, formerly Twitter, saying, "Some of y'all use washed too loosely. Post y'all mama so you can see what washed really is."
Say, oh, well, he's money hungry, he's looking at money and he's trying to cash out and this and that. I've been getting money for years. I've been getting millions for years.
Yeah.
And I'm not stupid with my money.
Right.
As you can see, I don't buy no Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and, you know what I mean, walk around with 100 people around me and I got all this jewelry.
Before his loss to Terence Crawford, Errol Spence was the unified welterweight champion, holding the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles. He was a dominant force in the division from 2017 to 2023. Although he hasn't fought in nearly 2 years, Spence is still just 34, and fans are eager to see him return against a big-name opponent. Meanwhile, Crawford, the two-weight undisputed champion, has found himself at the center of controversy after making some bold comments about Spence. The two fought in 2023, with Crawford delivering a one-sided victory. Since then, Spence has yet to make his comeback. Though he had the option to activate a rematch clause against Crawford, Spence chose not to pursue it.
He's a little lax and, he got caught. He should have boxed a little bit more, but, things happen. You got to learn from it. Definitely, it was exciting. The whole build up to it and leading up to it, too. So it's something that, I wouldn't change for nothing. And, I'm definitely open to the rematch and hopefully it'll be at 100.
Recently, Errol Spence was in talks for a potential fight with WBC and WBO super welterweight champion Sebastian Fundora, but those plans fell through after multiple delays. This led many to believe that Spence might never return to the ring. Meanwhile, Terence Crawford has continued to climb to new heights in his career. The Nebraska native is now set to face Canelo Alvarez in a mega fight scheduled for September later this year. Ahead of this massive showdown, Crawford appeared in an interview with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo on the Pound for Pound podcast. During the conversation, Crawford claimed that Spence doesn't yet deserve a spot in the Boxing Hall of Fame, arguing that Spence's achievements in the sport don't measure up to his own.
He's setting traps, has crazy power that he believes in, he has a great chin too because he's a guy, he'll let you get out punches.
During the podcast, Crawford confidently stated, "I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame." He couldn't, pointing to his own accomplishments in boxing. He went on to say that while Spence had unified 3 belts in one division, many already labeled him a weight bully, and noted Spence's win over Kell Brook, who was coming off a loss and an eye injury. Crawford also acknowledged Spence's win over Sean Porter, but didn't feel it was enough to secure a Hall of Fame spot for Spence. "That's a good win, but I honestly don't know if he'll make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades he has now," Crawford added. While Crawford's points have some merit, many fans and experts disagree with him. Boxing trainer Kevin Cunningham, for example, disagreed with Crawford, stating, "In my opinion, Errol Spence Jr. has done enough to eventually get into the Hall of Fame, Olympian, 3 world titles at welterweight, and top 4 pound for pound." This sentiment was also echoed by Erickson Lubin. Though Crawford's victory over Spence has boosted his popularity, he's already one of the most decorated fighters in the sport, holding titles in 4 weight classes, including 2 undisputed titles. Despite facing doubts at various stages of his career, Crawford has consistently proved his critics wrong. However, Lubin wasn't entirely convinced, writing in response to Crawford's comments, "No disrespect, but I don't think Crawford really fought anyone either. Moving up weight classes and stopping 11 out of 12 opponents is what we should credit him for." With these contrasting opinions, it's clear that Crawford has found himself at the center of some controversy.
If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he's going to win or lose, but I'll definitely be going for Crawford, I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off.
Yeah.
He's chasing greatness, so why not? Canelo came up to 175 and all that and fought Kovalev and fought the other guy too. So, I mean, if he can do it, and he started at, 147? So, I mean, if he's doing it.
Terence Crawford delivered a shocking and dominant performance against Errol Spence in their highly anticipated unification bout, becoming the first undisputed welterweight champion in nearly 40 years. The victory also solidified his claim as the best fighter in the world, regardless of weight. Crawford knocked Spence down in the second round and then again twice in the seventh, before the referee stepped in to stop the fight at 2:32 of the ninth round. The 19,990 fans at the T-Mobile Arena wouldn't have minded if the referee had intervened earlier. The fight, which had been years in the making, was expected to be a thrilling showdown between two undefeated American stars. However, after a competitive opening round, the bout quickly became a display of Crawford's generational talent. The 35-year-old from Nebraska put on an extraordinary performance, showcasing power, precision, and superior ring IQ that made his elite opponent look like an amateur. Crawford's victory was a clear statement of his place in boxing history. Terence Crawford, a former champion at 135 pounds and 140 pounds, entered Saturday's highly anticipated showdown as a slight favorite. By the end of the night, he made history as the first fighter to hold all of the recognized world titles at welterweight since 1986, when Lloyd Honeyghan defeated Donald Curry at Caesars Atlantic City to claim the WBA, WBC, and IBF belts in one of the biggest upsets in British boxing history. Crawford's historic achievement came at the expense of Errol Spence, a 2012 U.S. Olympian from the Dallas suburb of DeSoto. Spence, known for his patient, pressure-heavy approach and methodical southpaw jab, was no match for Crawford's versatile switch-hitting style and flawless counterpunching. Crawford's dynamic performance proved too much for Spence, securing his place in boxing history.
Fish fry come Saturday. Man, you gotta calm down, brother. Cause listen, man, things can get real sticky real quick, and then everybody would say, this is what we do every time we come out. This is what we do when we come out.
In the second round of Saturday's welterweight title unification bout, Terence Crawford knocked Errol Spence down for the first time in 29 professional fights. After the fight, Crawford reflected on his journey, saying, "I only dreamed of being a world champion. I'm an overachiever. Nobody believed in me when I was coming up, but I made everybody a believer. I want to thank Spence and his team because without him, none of this would have been possible." Spence came out strong in the opening round, staying busy with his jab and targeting Crawford's midsection. The naturally bigger man used his superior footwork and body attack to push Crawford backward into the second. However, when Spence overextended on a right-hand shot to the body that missed badly, Crawford took advantage with a perfectly timed counter, sending Spence to the canvas for the first time in his career. From there, it only got worse for Spence. Despite coming out for the third round determined to show his resilience, Spence's heavy shots were easily blocked and parried by Crawford. By the fourth, Spence was bleeding from a cut above his right eye, and it became clear that Crawford's hand speed and precision were too much. Crawford operated with surgical precision, using his jab as a power punch while Spence walked into one clean shot after another.
Even the skills to say, all right, let me see how you gonna take a punch to the chin. Let me see how you gonna take a punch to the body. Let me see how you gonna react when you can't bully somebody around.
Good, I just hit the ball.
Okay. So my mind was, you know what I mean, you know, it was racing a little bit. And I was like, man, how should I come out? And it was like, man, just come out boxing.
Listen, just like you talking, just like you doing all that talking, bro, it can turn deadly real quick. But on both sides, so why not support, listen, why not support your fighter?
Spence acknowledged Crawford's sharp performance, saying, he was just throwing the hard jab. He was timing his jab, and his timing was just on point. I wasn't surprised by his speed or his accuracy, it was everything I thought. The punishment kept piling on in the fifth and sixth rounds as Crawford relentlessly attacked, leaving Spence's face bloodied and swollen. In the seventh, Spence went down for the second time from a combination of punches, then again from a powerful right hook in the closing seconds. By this point, it was clear the end was near. Crawford, known for being a ruthless finisher, continued to pour on the pressure. In the ninth, with Spence visibly struggling and on shaky legs, Crawford landed 9 straight unanswered punches. With Spence defenseless, the referee stepped in to stop the fight. Crawford agreed with the stoppage, saying, "It was a good stoppage. I was on the verge of coming back with some hard shots. Everybody knows I'm a great finisher. The ref did what he was supposed to do to protect the fighter.
Nothing wrong with that. Support your fighter. Y'all support y'all fighter. Let's come together, make this event a success. Instead of everybody saying every time we get together, you know what I mean, it's always shoot.
CompuBox's punch statistics provided clear evidence of Crawford's overwhelming dominance in the fight. He landed an impressive 185 of 369 punches, connecting at a rate of 50.1%, including 98 of 163 power shots at 60.1%. In contrast, Spence landed only 96 of 480 punches, a mere 20%, with just 33 of 296 jabs landing at 11.1%, his primary weapon. Crawford explained their strategy, saying, "Our main focus was the jab. You take away his best attribute, the rest is history." A defeated Spence acknowledged Crawford's superiority, reflecting on the loss with, "He was just better tonight. He was using the jab. My timing was a little bit off. He was just the better man tonight." This was Spence's first defeat since his loss to Russia's Andrei Zamovoy in the 69 kilograms quarterfinals at the London Olympics over a decade ago.
Big question was, is he gonna come out orthodox? Is he gonna come out southpaw? I'm tripping because I was talking to one of your guys after the fight in the locker room, and he said, before y'all came out to fight, you looked at him and you looked at Shakur and you said, "Hey, what y'all think I should do?"
Yeah, because in my mind, I want to fight. I want to fight. But given the circumstances that he haven't had nobody that's, you know what I mean,
The contract for Saturday's fight included a two-way rematch clause, allowing the loser to trigger a return bout within 30 days. However, the winner gets to decide whether the fight takes place at 147 pounds or 154 pounds. Spence, who has been open about his struggles to make the welterweight limit, has expressed a desire to move past 147 pounds for good. But when asked about a possible rematch, he didn't hesitate to respond. "We got to do it again," Spence said. "I'm going to be a lot better. It'll be a lot closer. It'll probably be in December, at the end of the year. I say we got to do it again. Hopefully, it will happen at 154.
Like he should. He didn't do the things that his daddy told him to do. What are you talking about? Even his daddy said it. Even his daddy said it.
You butthurt that I got to
Even his daddy said it.
You butthurt.
Even Kell Brook, he was already broken.
So was he broken when you fought?
No, he wasn't broken.
How come
I broke the other eye.
He came off
I broke the other eye. Yeah, that's how I got broke. That's how I got broke.
The two fighters met in one of the biggest bouts in recent memory at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas in July 2023. Spence entered the ring as the WBA, WBC, and IBF welterweight champion with a record of 28-0, while Crawford, holding the WBO welterweight title, boasted a record of 39-0. The fight was hyped as a 50-50 contest, but it didn't play out that way. Crawford delivered a dominant ninth-round stoppage, becoming the undisputed welterweight champion and solidifying his place among the pound-for-pound best in the world. After the fight, Spence revealed just how powerful Crawford's punches were. At the post-fight press conference, he needed only 4 words to sum it up: "He hits like a mule."
He came off a stoppage and then he fought you
What does it matter?
months prior.
What does it matter?
So was he broken or not?
No, he wasn't broken. No, he wasn't broken.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
What are you talking about? I had the same surgery he had, and what happened? So what they say about you then? You fight me then?
I'm gonna break the other eye.
So what they say?
Spence acknowledged Crawford's strength, saying, "He's a strong dude." He went on to explain why Crawford was able to dominate so easily, saying, "I got a feel for his power probably in the first or second round. Everybody at this top level has some type of power, but I think because my timing was off, he was catching me in between shots." Since his defeat to Crawford, Spence has yet to return to the ring but has been linked with a potential move up to super welterweight to face WBO and WBC champion Sebastian Fundora. Meanwhile, Crawford is still eyeing a showdown with unified super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. One fighter who has sparred with both men has even given his prediction for their potential bout.
You said if this Canelo fight, you know, if you're able to be successful and victorious, like, how important is it for you to be able to rank yourself amongst all the top guys that ever did this thing?
It'd be great. You know, that's why you take the chance. You know, this is by far the biggest opportunity, but the biggest risk that I ever took in my career.
Yeah.
You know, and I understand what's at stake, and I understand the level of competition that I'm up against, and I be like, man, come on, man.
Yeah.
So every time he say that, you know, I just be like gradually getting into like looking at like, okay. And he's not that big. You know, he heavy, but he not that big.
Right.
You know, and I'm just like, all right. I'm laughing, but at the same time, it started hitting me like, all right, man.
After months of speculation in early 2024 about a potential clash between the two pound-for-pound stars, talk seemed to stall as the year went on, leading many to believe that the fight wouldn't happen. However, in recent weeks, rumors have resurfaced, sparking hope among boxing fans that the matchup could still be in play. Both Canelo and Crawford are searching for opponents for next year, making the possibility of the fight more likely once again. This potential showdown would see current WBA super welterweight champion Crawford move up 2 weight classes to face reigning unified super middleweight champion Canelo Alvarez. Meanwhile, it remains uncertain whether Crawford would be interested in pursuing a rematch with Errol Spence before stepping into the ring with Canelo.
If Canelo become undisputed again, and I beat Canelo, what could they say? They'll say something, but what
they're gonna find something, you know that.
But what can they really say?
Right.
You know? So that's the legacy fight right there for me. I'm not looking at, a lot of people say, oh, well, he's money hungry, I'm up against, and that what makes it great. You know, that's what all the great fighters will want, because it's a high risk, high reward type of fight. You come out on top, look at everything that's gonna happen after that. You one of the top 5 fighters in the world ever, probably.
That's what I was gonna ask you. Where you rank it? Because I put that on Twitter. I said, if you beat Canelo.
Right now, Terence Crawford's primary focus is the Canelo fight, something he has made clear to the public multiple times. He's expressed that if Canelo hadn't given him the fight he'd been waiting for, he might have retired. Meanwhile, Errol Spence has yet to trigger the rematch clause, leaving him waiting with no action for some time. The more likely scenario for Spence is to move up to the super welterweight division, where he could face one of the top contenders in a tune-up fight before aiming for another world championship shot. That's all for now. For the latest updates on boxing news, moments, events, and action, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our high-quality content.